Christmas has come once again. Just to think, 82 Christmases I will have lived. And of all the wonderful Christmases I had and spent in home with my parents in prosperous years, free of any worry, the one that stands out best in my memory was during the Depression when I had 2 little sons and a husband and a simple little home. We bought the bicycle on the installment plan for the oldest boy and a cowboy suit with sheepskin chaps for the younger one. And I had a Christmas tree with tinsel waiting for Christmas morning. At 3 o'clock in the morning, the boys got up, and by daylight, the white chaps were muddy, and the bicycle had gone through ruts and looked like as if it were 10 years old. That was a wonderful Christmas. And boys will grow up and be men, but Mama had taught me that the duty of a mother is to teach them discipline and respect of their elders and the 10 Commandments. That's what I try to do, and they haven't let me down. They've been honorable. And the wish I wish the most for Christmas is that they will always be honorable men and be someone to be proud of for the future generations. And these 2 sons gave me 6 lovely grandchildren. One son and 5 the other son's side. A grandchild brings into one's life a new kind of love. Until you have experienced that, you can't imagine. You can fall in love at 16, later fall in love and marry, but until you have a grandchild, you just don't know what this new refreshing love can mean. When you need it most, life has sort of beat you down by then. You've learned so much. And first there was Tom. Darling little Tom telephoned early in the morning, about 4 o'clock, and said, Chinky, if you want to come to the hospital to be here for the morning, the baby will be here in an hour, so the doctor says. I was there, and when the nurse brought out this shriveled up, funny little fella, before he even had a bath, Tay says, what are you going to name him? Rod says, Thomas Martin Fraser, but I want him called Tom. And thereafter, poor grandfather, although he had a baby name for him, he was dubbed with the name Pig Tom. And then came Nim in 11 months. I guess it was a surprise, although by then it's been such advanced in the world, they didn't have to have it if they didn't want it. But they were darling little boys. And Lee went on a lovely trip to Europe with her parents, was gone several weeks. And I had the pleasure of taking care of the 2 little boys. In the morning I bathed and dressed them and went to work, left when the nurse came. And in the evening when I came back, the nurse left and I bathed and we had supper together. And Kate, my dear old sister, helped. And it was a lovely time. Rod and Kate and I enjoyed the babies. They were so sweet. Tom was 2 the day before I left for Saudi Arabia. And when I came back again, there was a little girl had been born the next trip over. I didn't see Margaret until she was about 3 years old. But she was a cute little fellow then. She said to her daddy, Daddy, is she going to live with us? Rod thought that was a great compliment, but I thought Margaret was afraid I was going to stay. Then I went back to Saudi Arabia, and the next time I came, Hunter had been born, and John was 4 months old. Hunter was a bouncing baby, fat little pig, and how she loved for me to rock her and sing, Run, tell Aunt Tabby, the old gray goose is dead. And she just laughed, and so sweet and lovable even then. Little John slept in the room with me, and he would hold his head in the morning up and peer around, and I'd say, John, John. He couldn't even focus good, but he'd find me, and I loved bathing him, putting powder on him in a clean diaper that early in the morning. So you see, this is a joy a grandmother has. You think, oh, this is a chore, but it really isn't a chore until you get to be a great-grandmother and your back's weak and you're not strong enough to lift a bouncing baby boy. The children are all grown and married except John. It's the duty of the parent to teach them obedience and respect and the 10 Commandments, to see that they go to church and to believe in a divine power, because they in time will certainly need the knowledge of a divine power. William Johnson Fraser Jr. was called Billy, was almost called Binky. A dear friend of ours wanted to call him Binky, combine Bill and Chinkie. But at that time I called him William, but it's gotten down to Bill now. But Bill has one lovely son. He and his wife wanted more children, but it just didn't work out that way. But somehow they had quality in the one. He was bright in school, and now he's at 26. This year was 26. He's a very successful bonds trader in the Wall Street district of New York, and he's respected by men who have been in the money market for years, and he has really honored the family in his integrity and his ability. We're all very proud of Will, and he's fine looking, 6'3", black hair, curly hair, and all in all, just we couldn't hardly ask for more, only that he would pay me a little bit more attention. But he doesn't have time for that damn money market. Well, you can leave that out. Now, what did else I say I wanted to say? And we have a wonderful family. It's like all families, they have their disagreements and ups and downs, but somehow or other, it's worked out so well, and we're all so happy when we get together and have so much that I'm ashamed sometimes when I see the TV and see foreign country where the people, there's been a drought and people are hungry, and we have so much. And it worries me, because I think maybe we're not good enough, that maybe we should remember to share a little something every day with someone less fortunate than we. But then Christmas is not a time for serious thoughts. It's a time for the Christmas tree and the little ones to get presents, and the grown people to be extravagant and buy presents the great-grandchildren will never remember they had, and to eat too much, and maybe to have a nip or two too much. And next month I'll be 83, and I'm going to try to have a few more Christmases with this wonderful family, because it is a great joy. And at this moment I can't think of anything any of them ever did that wasn't the perfect thing to do. I'd sure hate to hear that. It was our own.
My great-grandfather, Judge John Stark Hunter, lived in Haynesville, Alabama, and my grandmother, Sarah Hunter, was born in Haynesville in 1848, and the home where she was born still is in Haynesville in good shape. And she married Robert White Smith, who was my grandfather. I married Thomas Mudd in 1918, and I had a daughter, Alice Reese, who was born in Selma, Alabama. and I have two older daughters, Sarah Hunter, and also Lee Frazier, Patricia Lee. I have, let's see, both of my grandmothers died before I was born, both sides of the family. And I hate to stop. And I spent a great deal of my childhood in summers and various times in Lansborough with my grandfather, William McCurdy. And one Christmas I remember especially, he brought me he raised horses in Kentucky, and he brought me home a Shetland pony named Fred. And I also had a cart and a saddle. Kept the pony lived till way after I was married, a long time, and was given to my cousin of mine in Lansborough after that. One Christmas I remember I was spending in Lansborough. Why I did it, I do not know. I went to the window and had a candle in my hand and caught the shades on fire, caught the curtains on fire. It was great excitement in the country. Putting the fire out, as they had no fire engines or anything to put out a fire. I don't know what to say to that. And my children, when Tom Fraser was born, my youngest grandchild, I was very upset about that because my daughter already had a good many children, and I never thought she'd have another one. When she told me, I was so upset. Living about 5 blocks from her house, I walked home and never said a word. But John has certainly been a joy and a pleasure to me ever since. All of my grandchildren now, except one, are happily married to lovely young men. And we have had, this past winter we have had, starting first of December, no, 1st of January, up until this present date, which is December of the same year, I have had 6 weddings in the family. Grandchildren, I have 6 grandchildren married, and which I hope are very happily married now.
Just each individual grandchild mentioned something and where you were or something about them.
Well, my oldest granddaughter was married in Lansborough at my daughter's home down there. She was married in the 1st of January, and 2 months after that, my sister was married in Lansborough also. And then Nim Frazier, who is my grandson, who is now in the army in Germany, was married. And then after that, a month or 2 after that, Margaret Frazier was married to Robert Proctor. And then also my Sarah Hunter, granddaughter, who lives in Richmond, Virginia, was married, and the family went up to the wedding. I did not go. And then Hunter, Sarah Hunter Frazier was married. She is the last one to get married, which was just about 2 months ago. And John Frazier is the only Frazier left that is not married. He goes to the Citadel and will graduate next year and intends to go into the National Guard after that for 3 years. And his brother, as I just mentioned before, is stationed in Germany now, and he will return to Montgomery in May of this year and go into business with his father, Rod Frazier, He was in the security business. What else I should say?
Tom and Cheryl and their grandchildren, or their children.
Oh yeah, Tom Frazier was married, and he has two children. Tom, two little girls, Lila Martin, and who is now 14 months old, and she was in the wedding recently at St. John's Church of her aunt, Hannah Frazier. And he also has a little boy named Thomas Martin Frazier, who is 14 months old. He was very noisy at the wedding, having on new shoes which he did not know, and his father had to take him out.
Tell me a funny story about Lee.
Lee Frazier.
Mm-hmm. Little girl or...
Lee always bad. She never knew me till she was about 3 years old, because I had an excellent servant who stayed in the room with her, but it really was not quite that bad. When Lee was born, I had a servant who stayed day and night. She got up one day a week, one afternoon a week, and one afternoon after she was gone, I was bathing her, and the water was so hot that I thought I was going to burn her up, but I didn't. Thank goodness that happened too.
Mm.
What else do you want to talk about?
Okay.
My oldest granddaughter, Sarah, has invited me to have dinner with her in Montgomery, Alabama, which is about 4 or 5 blocks from me. And that afternoon, that night, I'm having dinner with my daughter Lee Frazier for Christmas, so I'll have 2 Christmas dinners, which I do not need to eat twice in one day, I assure you. But I will enjoy each one of them. And Sarah's youngest son, who goes to Yale and graduates this year, has had a wonderful opportunity to study Chinese, which I thought he was very foolish to do, but anyway, he asked to go, and he's going to be sent to Hong Kong for 2 years, teaching English over there. We're more than delighted that he won't be a burden to his mother, because he wanted to go to graduate school in California. And her son, oldest son, is at Vanderbilt studying law. This is her place, law. And Alice, my oldest granddaughter, is living in, has a wonderful husband and has 3 children. Alice and also Jess. And I hope this Christmas will be wonderful for each and every one of us. We'll always remember it. And that is my Christmas wish to each one of us. How long did I tell you?